All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today is Friday, March 26, 2021, and this is your PTE News Break. It is so good to have you guys back. Some of you are still reeling from our last live stream. If you haven't had an opportunity to check it out, please do so. You're missing a treat. Thank you so much to my March 2021 sponsors. I appreciate your support of the channel. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope really, really great things happen to you this weekend. I had another well wish for you, and I should have written it down because I forgot it. But I send you nothing but positive vibes. So thank you so much for your support of the channel. I really do appreciate it. All right, guys, why don't we go ahead and jump right into our stories for the week? We've got quite a few this week. So tuck in, get your wine, or whatever you sip on while you watch the news break and our other shows, while we get caught up on everything that's been going on this week. So welcome, everybody. Hi. So first and foremost, I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but it's actually kind of major. So that's why I wanted to start the show off with it and bring it to you. So long story short, there's a giant boat blocking the Suez Canal. Okay, that is your high level summary. And if you're not familiar with where the Suez Canal is, I went ahead and pulled it up on Google Maps. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. But the Suez Canal is right here, kind of between Egypt and we'll get a little closer, but like this peninsula of Saudi Arabia. Let's get a little closer. I think this is Israel. Yeah. So the Suez Canal runs kind of right here between Egypt and Israel. Okay. And we can even get closer and closer and kind of see, really can't see it from afar, but it kind of cuts right through here, okay? It's 120 miles long, and boats come through, they pass through this part. I was trying to say port and part at the same time. So let me zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see. And basically, it is a major commerce area for boats. So a lot of times when you order things that are coming from overseas, I guarantee you that boat probably passed through the Suez Canal to get to where it was finally going. So what has happened is a boat is blocking the top of it. It has turned completely sideways, and we're going to look at that. So now the issue is, if they can't get this boat cleared out of the Suez Canal, all the boats that are waiting at the top and down here towards the bottom are going to have to go around Africa to get where they're going. Okay. And that costs money, that costs time. And there's a little bit of everything on those boats, y'all, because a lot of those boats are headed to the United States. You know what I mean? South America. So it's a huge deal. So that's the high level summary. And I just wanted to kind of set it up for you just in case you weren't familiar. So let's take a look at what has actually happened. Okay. So there is a massive ship blocking the Suez Canal, bringing billions of dollars in trade to a standstill. All right. So this is them trying to dig it out. And when you look at the perspective, it's like the only question I really want to ask is, has this ever worked for you? Has this worked, digging a ship out this big with this little thing here? I'm just curious. I'm honestly asking. I don't know. I didn't even think things like this were possible, but apparently anything is possible in the 2020s. Okay. The massive container ship Ever Given has been stuck in the Suez Canal for 3 days, halting billions of dollars in trade as vessels pile up at both ends of the waterway. More than 150 ships are waiting to pass through the 120-mile canal, according to estimates from research firm StoneX. Images captured from vessel tracker Marine Traffic show the extent of the buildup, okay? And it's actually gotten worse since this picture was taken. And there's way more boats there now. We might go take a look in a second to see how they're doing now. The canal handles about 12% of seaborne trade, making it an essential point of passage. Each day of blockage disrupts more than $9 billion worth of goods, according to the Associated Press, citing estimates from Lloyd's List. Research from StoneX noted that 24 of the vessels are carrying crude, 15 are refined product tankers, and 16 are liquefied natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas product carriers. So this has the potential to have a major impact on the cost and price of gasoline and oil, if it hasn't already. For ships waiting to pass through the canal, alternate options are limited. As delays continue, shippers will have to broach the unpalatable decision of whether to make a U-turn and head for the Cape of Good Hope or wait it out in the Red Sea and Mediterranean. Rerouting significantly increases a trip's length, which translates to higher costs. Sailing from the Suez Canal to Amsterdam takes just over 13 days while traveling at 12 knots, compared with 41 days if traveling around the Cape of Good Hope on the southern tip of Africa. The event highlights the relative fragility of the on-water trading system, particularly for those flows for which the Suez Canal transits make up a higher percentage of total volumes moved, okay? The ship became horizontally wedged in the waterway following heavy winds. Multiple tugboats were sent to the scene, and a team from Smith Salvage has been called in to assist. All right? Let's see how much further. It's a little bit further. So I'm not going to keep reading because I wanted to show you a little bit more. I wanted to give you a little bit more of a perspective photo on this. So this is what we're dealing with, guys. All right. First of all, didn't realize like the canal looks so flat, doesn't it? I wonder how deep it is. Let's see. Let me do a quick Google search. How deep is the Suez Canal? It says it's almost 200 miles long and 210 feet deep. So it's deep, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like just a flat piece of paper. Isn't that crazy? So, but this is the boat turned sideways. PTE, don't make jokes. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I have to go for it. There's an old rap song. Goes sitting sideways, poised in a daze, sitting sideways, poised in a daze, sitting sideways, poised in a daze. Okay, all right, done. Anyway, this is the boat. It's sitting sideways, poised in a daze. Here's another perspective shot from the top. And basically it's stuck, you guys. It can't move. They can't get it to turn. So all these other boats, and I think I read somewhere 51 boats, maybe, or it might have been 15, but I'm pretty sure 51 is what I read. Somewhere between 15 and 51 boats pass through this thing every day, and they're all carrying tons of cargo. You know, lots of stuff, like pretty much everything we use. We just don't see it that way. So everything that you own that says made in China, made in Hong Kong, made in Korea, made somewhere else is sitting on this boat right now, stuck. And so are all the other boats that can't get through. That water is so pretty though. Wow, that's pretty. But anyway, so yeah, guys. And on top of that, I saw this earlier today. It says releasing the container ship from the Suez Canal could capsize it. In other words, it could turn it over. And I swear I thought that. I know y'all don't believe me, but I promise you, when I was first reading about this, I said to myself, they keep it up, they're going to flip it over. And then I read this and I was like, well, I guess I have some mild understanding of physics. It may not be advanced, but it's mild. But it does say salvage workers are trying to calculate how to keep the massive top-heavy vessel, the size of the Empire State Building, from tipping over while they free it from the shifting sands. Now, I do wonder, and there's probably an answer to this, and I'm sure they thought of this already, but why don't they just start unloading it? Is that not an option? Or are these containers too heavy? I'm asking. I don't know. I'm just asking. Are these containers too heavy to lift? We can't helicopter these off, put them on a different boat and like lighten the load by half? Is that not an option? I assume not, because I assume they probably thought of that. It's probably one of the first things they thought. Just take it all off the boat. But anyway, if you ordered something from Alibaba or what's the other one, Wish, you're not going to get it for like 6 months, okay? I just wanted you guys to know that. Oh, some of y'all know that song. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad I wasn't just hanging out there, just caught out there. No one knew the song. It was one of my favorite songs too when it came out. All right, so that's that. So guys, we've been having conversations about prepping and getting ready and things of that nature. Things like this are why. You see what I mean? You might live in a safe city around really normal, mentally balanced people, but a container ship just got stuck in Africa, basically. Now all the other ships can't pass through. This is going to impact all the supply chains, including the food supply chain. Okay, so you might want to go ahead and stock up on what you can now before this starts to have the ripple effects that people are predicting. Okay, so there's that. Good luck, guys, turning that boat. Lots of things going on with boats lately. Isn't that weird? We got boats floating in the sky. We got boats getting stuck in canals. What's going on with the boats? Maritime. Now let's talk about this, guys. The White House fires staffers over marijuana use. The White House defended its firing of 5 White House staffers over past marijuana use, with Press Secretary Jen Psaki suggesting that other security issues had factored into the employees being let go. Okay, see, I hadn't read this previously, and the news is not reporting on the quote unquote other security issues. But still, let's keep going. At a Wednesday press briefing, a reporter pressed Psaki on the Biden administration terminating 5 employees over previous marijuana consumption, even though staff were led to believe pot use would not be disqualifying. Psaki insisted that the administration had worked with the security service, which makes this determination, and that in the past, the rules were actually far more stringent. Marijuana is legal in a number of states across the country. It is still illegal federally, Psaki said, adding that in terms of the 5 people no longer employed, for a number of them, there were other security issues that were raised. Psaki insisted that other team members who would not have been able to serve in previous administrations due to stricter policies were currently working for President Joe Biden. If marijuana was federally legal, that would be a different circumstance, Psaki said. Over a dozen states have legalized the use of recreational marijuana. In 2019, the then Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris spoke of her own previous marijuana use, saying that the drug gives a lot of people joy and supported it being legalized at the federal level. Biden has not backed federal legalization of marijuana, instead supporting decriminalizing its use. The Daily Beast reported last week that dozens of Biden administration staffers were disciplined and some asked to resign due to their past marijuana use. Psaki defended the decision late last week, pointing to the administration's original announcement, saying that marijuana use wouldn't automatically be disqualifying. She also confirmed then that 5 people who had started working at the White House were no longer employed as a result of this policy. Y'all, Joseph, this is so lame. This is lame. You shouldn't have let this get out in the news. You shouldn't have told people this. This is super lame, my guy. This is so lame. And let me tell you why it's lame. It's not like they're saying, it's not like the White House is known for initial and randomized drug testing. If they are, I'm not aware of that, okay? It's not like all White House, it's not like all White House staffers know, hey, any day, any hour, any minute, the Secret Service could come tap me on my shoulder and ask me to go submit to a drug test as part of my condition of employment. It's not the case as far as what I know, okay? It's not like they took a hair sample, or if they did, they didn't say that. And, in the hair sample found marijuana and, whatever else in there. These people basically just confessed to marijuana use, I'm assuming on some sort of questionnaire. And it came back later to bite them. So they basically got the job. They were honest. They confessed. They owned up to whatever, got the job. And then I guess something else happened that they won't clarify or speak on that I guess raised concerns over these people. And so then they piggybacked that on their former marijuana use and terminated them. Biden, are you trying to get reelected in 4 years? Or Joseph, didn't I tell you to call me like 2 live streams ago? I think I did. This ain't it, babe. Like, I feel like they did this to try to make themselves look like high ground and like super moral. You know what I mean? But trust me when I say nobody's on this right now. Like, Joseph, you're showing your age, honey. Like, nobody in this world is going, oh, clutching their pearls. Marijuana? That wacky weed? Oh my God. I can't believe it. We had people working in the White House smoking marijuana. Oh, Joseph, you did the right thing letting them go. We are of high accountability and high moral fortitude and high moral ground. How could you? Like, oh my God, how incredibly lame. Wow. Y'all shouldn't have let that story get out. That was not good. Because you got a lot of smokers who support you, Biden. A lot of smokers put you in the White House, Biden. So to hear you now firing people over marijuana use, renewing all the boomers, old school, no, you boomers, y'all were potheads. It's your parents who are super prudish about weed. Renewing all their fears. I knew that marijuana was wacky. Wacky weed. This video won't be monetized. Anyway, I just find this so like, it's one thing if they failed a drug test. It's one thing if they failed a hair test, which I believe they put the CIA through, Secret Service has to go through blood tests, hair tests. And I kind of get it though. Like if you're going to be sitting at the highest level of security, you kind of need to be above reproach. You really do. Otherwise, you kind of lose credibility in a way. You know what I mean? But these are White House staffers, more than likely like interns who just got hired, people probably in their 20s. And what kills me is you firing people for marijuana. Are you testing for Adderall? Testing for that? Are you scanning the paperwork for la cocaína? Huh? Yeah? Because from what I understand, DC has a serious coke problem. That's what I heard. Marijuana is like almost like a cigarette in terms of drug usage in DC. That's what I heard. You need to be scanning them all for Adderall. I just think this is so lame. Biden, what are you doing? Biden, we're still kind of sort of in the middle of a pandemic. We've already burned through this little stimulus check, honey, because y'all fussed and fought over that. Like, your focus is off. This is ridiculous. Like, were they on a drug task force? Like, you got to make it make sense. This is not looking good for your reelection because even Trump wasn't tripping on weed. Like, come on now. Don't give them any point. Don't give them free points, man. These are free points. I would not be shocked to see them pick this up and run away with it. Like, I mean, come on. Even Trump didn't like trip on weed. Yeah, because y'all are all allegedly on coke, coked up. No judgment. I'm just saying. Of course you wouldn't trip on weed because then we got to talk about that powdery substance in your back pocket. Okay? So Biden, not a good look, not a good move. It makes you look really old. It makes you look like you're regressing instead of progressing. It doesn't make you look like a Democrat, really, but you've already been accused of that. So, anywho, that's pretty lame, but it happened. And then meanwhile, in New York is legalizing recreational marijuana. So you see, like, It's like Twilight Zone. It's like this country exists in the future and the past at the same time. Like, like y'all got to let it go. You know what I mean? I think this might be the beginning of you guys opening up to other things, like letting go. And what kills me though, here, before I read this, the same people who are typically, freaked out and pearl clutching over marijuana are also usually like raging narcissists who mistreat their family. So you don't smoke weed, okay, but you degrade your son and daughter. You know what I mean? You belittle your husband, you belittle your wife. So you're so holy because you don't smoke weed, but you literally like have destroyed people's careers behind the scenes. But you don't smoke though. Anyway, that's a different show. So Biden is firing people for past marijuana usage, while meanwhile, New York is reaching a deal to legalize recreational marijuana. The move paves the way for a potential $4.2 billion industry with millions of dollars in sales tax revenue reinvested into minority communities each year. Well, okay, fine, fine. State lawmaker, oh, God help me. State lawmakers finalized a deal on Thursday to legalize recreational marijuana in New York, paving the way for a potential $4.2 billion industry that could create tens of thousands of jobs and become one of the largest markets in the country. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I just looked at the chat. Half of them are alcoholics in DC. So you're firing people for weed, but you're an alcoholic. Like, stop. Thank you for reminding me of that. How could I leave that out? Sorry, redirecting. Following several failed attempts, lawmakers in Albany struck an agreement with Governor Andrew Cuomo to legalize cannabis for adults 21 and older, a move that officials hope will help end years of racially disproportionate policing that saw Black and Hispanic people arrested on low-level marijuana charges more frequently than white people. The deal would allow delivery of the drug and permit club-like lounges or consumption sites where marijuana but not alcohol could be consumed. It would also allow a person to cultivate up to 6 marijuana plants at home, indoors or outdoors, for personal use. How are you going to tell somebody how many plants they can grow in their house? Maybe it's an electricity issue. Because if you got 30 plants going, that's probably going to consume a lot of electricity. I don't know. I'm curious about that though. Because like, what's the difference between a marijuana plant and like a sunflower? You know what I mean? Like, what if you wanted to grow 6 sunflowers in your house? Like, is that a problem? I'm just curious, like what the actual issue is. Is it a pest issue? Anyway. If approved, the first sales of legal marijuana are likely more than a year away. Officials must first face the daunting task of writing the complex rule. And it's not that complex, guys. Come on. Of writing the complex rules that will control a highly regulated market, from the regulation of wholesalers and dispensaries to the allocation of cultivating and retail licenses to the creation of new taxes and a 5-member control board that would oversee the industry. Basically, they have to figure out how they're going to make their money off of it first. And then they'll let you do it. I think the first act of the 5-member control board, the 5-member control board should be to get them all stoned out of their minds so they can fully understand the industry that they're partaking in. You understand the motivations, the highs, the lows, no pun intended, what's important to the consumer, to the retailer. Stone them out of their gourds. And then they can go ahead and oversee the industry. But this is interesting. Congratulations, New York. Looks like somebody's trying to move forward. You know what I mean? But I think I know who's afraid of this, and it's the alcohol industry, I think. Because you see already, they're thinking of consumption sites where you can smoke weed but not drink alcohol. They're not going to like that. They're going to kick and scream against that. They don't want to get pushed out. Because I think also, and this is just my assumption, that slowly and over time, if marijuana becomes legal like nationwide, you will see a decrease in alcohol consumption. I can almost guarantee it. I'd put money on it. If this channel is still up and functional by the time it goes legal nationwide, I'll come find this video and let's see if I was right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the chat. It's good to have you. Good to have you. All right, let's move on. So I'm not going to let y'all forget this. The news wants you to forget. The media wants you to forget. I'm not going to let you forget. I haven't forgotten yet. It stays on my mind quite frequently, actually. But we're starting to get tolls on how many people were affected fatally by this winter storm in Texas in February. And they are saying that at least 111 people died from the winter storm that hit Texas in February. That's crazy, you guys. That's more than hurricanes sometimes. Hurricanes, with the exception of like the big bad category like 5s, hurricanes usually are like 8 or 9 people. But 111, like that's crazy. So it says the number of people reported passed away in the aftermath of winter storms that pummeled Texas in February now stands at 111, according to the Texas Department of State Health Services. The agency reported that statewide total Thursday in its weekly report of winter storm-related deaths. Oh, sorry. I put the emphasis wrong. The agency reported the statewide total Thursday in its weekly report of winter storm-related deaths. The deaths included in the Thursday report occurred between February 11th and March 5th, and the majority of them reported to DSHS were associated with hypothermia, froze to death. There have also been multiple deaths caused by motor vehicle accidents, carbon monoxide poisoning, medical equipment failure, exacerbation of chronic illness, lack of home oxygen, falls, and fire. So, finish the article, then I'll say that. The news comes more than a month after a severe winter storm hit the region. Texas, normally known for its heat, struggled in its handling of the storm because of widespread power outages and water disruptions that left thousands freezing for weeks. As of Wednesday, there are still 127 state residents under a boil water notice. So it's still not completely reset. So what I was going to say was right here is pretty much everything that we are dependent on modern conveniences to prevent, and in particular, electricity. With the exception of the motor vehicle accidents, unless you want to argue for like traffic lights and stuff, keeping the lights, on. But other than that, electricity prevents all of this. So this is how critical it is to life. So this is why, I'm happy to see people like Elon building a battery, attaching a Tesla battery to the power grid. I'm sure he will do it in other places. But this is how tenuous it is, though. I don't like how tenuous it is. It bothers me. To me, it makes me feel like we've become overly dependent and too confident and too comfortable on these modern conveniences. Because basically what this is saying is there were people who were only alive because of electricity. So if you were on some form of medical equipment that requires electricity goes out, you probably have a generator, because people who have these things typically do have like backup batteries and generators, but those things don't last forever. So even if it lasts for 24 hours, after those 24 hours are up and you've been out of power for 36, 48, you see what I mean? Exacerbation of chronic illness. I can imagine that would be a number of different things, but I can't think of any off the top of my head, but maybe, for example, anemia. Don't people with anemia get cold very easily? So if you already have anemia and then you're sitting in a freezing cold house because there's no heat, because there's no power, So you see what I'm saying? Like some of us are only alive because of electricity, and that bothers me. Our survival hinges on it. I don't like that. So I think we need to find a way to weave in some old school stuff. Like some people brought up like wood stoves and things like that. Some old school habits in the event that stuff like this fails, because as we saw at the top of the show, a boat can get stuck in a canal and throw off the global economy. So we have to know how to rough it out instinctually and naturally and automatically. Like we can't need to Google it. Like we need to know in our heart how to do this stuff. You see what I mean? So give me this. So yeah, so very unfortunate. Sorry to hear, but that, in my opinion, is a very, very, very high number of people for a winter storm. That's crazy. That's crazy high. Like we get hit with blizzards all the time. Like some of the northern states get like feet of snow. And trust me, I know that they're used to it. I get it. I'm not saying, oh, you should have been like the northern states. What I'm saying is people are literally buried under snow all the time, and 111 people don't die. You might lose like 2 or 3. They're usually elderly, caught off guard, but not 111. Like that's abnormal, man. That's not cool. That should bother everyone, and everyone should demand change. Okay. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the news break. Happy Friday. So let's switch gears a little bit. Whew. Didn't I tell you guys a couple of, I don't know, shows ago that once the pandemic starts to lift and the restrictions start to lift, the parties are going to be worse than ever before? Do you remember me telling you that? That they're going to be out of control and worse than ever before, like we've never seen. Okay. So I think Miami is only the first example of that. So the spring breakers have basically turned Miami Beach upside down to the point where they've declared states of emergency. They've assigned curfews, and over 100 people have been arrested in Miami on spring break. And the mayor made a classic quote that I'm going to share with you in a minute that I don't really think he meant to make. And the fact that he didn't mean to make it makes it that much more funny to me. Okay. So it says, throngs of maskless, hard partying spring break crowds were once again forced out of Miami Beach's streets Saturday night after the city declared a state of emergency amid fears of dangerous spike in COVID-19 cases. Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gelber announced an 8 p.m. curfew for the downtown entertainment district and restrictions on shorebound traffic for 72 hours as officials weigh what to do next at an emergency city council. As officials weigh what to do next at an emergency city council meeting on Sunday. Video posted on Twitter appeared to show partygoers drinking from open containers and dancing on top of bars. That's going to be problematic in a minute. I'll show you why. Other footage showed people being tackled by police and mobs of people scrambling from pepper balls fired at them after the curfew was announced. Y'all, the partying in Miami is so bad that they declared a state of emergency, something that's usually only declared after natural disasters. Okay? Let's take a look at this video. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're just going to mute that. Now they're fighting. Yep. Looks like an absolute blast. Sarcasm. Listen. I don't know why people find this fun. And I promise y'all, I'm not like old and a prude. Like I daydream sometimes. I'm like, I wish there was a club that was like clean. Like literally, like the club itself is clean. Like you walk in and like it smells clean. The floors are clean. The bar is clean. They got a head count limit. So there's only a certain number of people who can be in there at any given time. They don't try to pack it out to max capacity. There's like plenty of places to sit, but also like a dance floor. So you can get up, dance, actually go sit down somewhere. It's not like wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder. You don't have to stand so long that your feet hurt. A club where you're guaranteed to hear the music that you want to hear, not the music the DJ decides you're going to hear that night. Because most DJs have the most unusually horrific taste in music, and I don't get it. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like, there's still party left in me, but that just doesn't look fun to me. It never has. Like big groups and crowds like this, you know what I mean? Like, I've never felt comfortable in crowds like this, even before COVID. Like I want an orderly nightclub, if that makes sense, but still one that's like a lot of fun. It's hard to explain, but anyway, and lots of parking too, lots of places to park. But anyway, Miami has been turned into essentially a war zone, but some people are calling it a crime zone. And let me tell you why I'm laughing. Because I'm sure the citizens and residents, whoa, whoo, whoo. Let me tell you why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because y'all did this. You have literally marketed Miami through celebrities, advertisements, TV shows, social media. Like there have been so many reality TV shows based out of Miami. It's a beautiful city. It really is. It's actually one of my favorite cities on earth. Not when it's crowded to the brim like this, but like on a normal weekend. Oh, it's one of my favorite places on earth. But more than that though, you guys have literally marketed Miami as like the hotspot, the place to be. If you're not Miami, you're a loser. You're a lame. You know what I mean? So, and then on top of that, so I happen to land right here. It says, but Mitch Novick, who has owned the Sherbrooke Hotel for over 21 years, told WFOR TV that the area has now become a crime zone and refuses to reopen his business. Now listen, let's talk about the irony of this. This is Florida. Florida was one of the first states to fully reopen in spite of the different health warnings and things like that. Florida was one of the fussiest states in terms of, give us our businesses back, give us our freedom back. We just want to open. We just want to go back to normal, just want to go back to normal. Well, guys, this is back to normal. This is your back to normal. This is what you missed. You didn't miss this. You missed this. This is what you missed. This is back to normal, babe. That's what I was trying to say the whole time. I was like, dang, y'all don't appreciate this lull in action, this just little calm moment that we've never had in our lives and may never ever get again. Like, this is not neat to you. It's not interesting to you just to see what life looks like when it pauses temporarily. Yes, I know the financial impact has been great, but that's only because they refuse to tell the banks to stop. They refuse to put a moratorium on payments. That's the only reason people's lives financially collapsed. Other than that, we would have made it, y'all. We would have. But no, the banks got to get their money because the banks are God, apparently. And God has to get its money. So we had to pay the banks. But anyway, this is what I was trying to say. Like, you don't appreciate just a moment to even, he says he owns this hotel, the Sherbrooke Hotel. You could have taken this brief period of lapse of business to clean it from top to bottom, just for the hell of it, 21 years of buildup. Just bring in a cleaning crew, clean it from top to bottom, get organized. Take advantage of this special time that you may never ever get again. But no, they hated it. They hated it. And what kills me about people like this too is the people who hate being home usually have some of the nicest houses. And I really resent you for that. I can't even begin to describe to you how much I resent you for that. Big old pretty house, basement, multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms, tile, wood, fireplace, nice sized backyard, big covered porch, and can't stand being there. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta get out of here, gotta get out of here, gotta get out of here, gotta get out of here. Big old pretty house. Why don't you go get an apartment since you gotta get out of here so bad? Go get an apartment and let somebody else have that big old pretty house who will lay up in that house day in and day out and have everything delivered. Why don't you do that? Go get yourself a nice 3-bedroom apartment, sell most of your worldly goods, and leave these big old houses to people who will literally lay up in them day in and day out, praising God every single day that they're in one. While you gotta get out, gotta get out, gotta get out, gotta get out, gotta go explore, gotta go here, gotta travel, gotta sitting on a big old acre, 2 acres, 3 acre lot, basement, fully furnished, 2, 3, 4-car garages, multiple rooms, don't even know what to do with them, multiple rooms. Beautiful houses, can't stand to be in them. And that's why I can't stand you. But anyway, this is your normal, my dear. This is what you wanted so bad. You wanted this. You begged for this. You protested for this. You cried for this. Well, welcome back. 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 Okay? Now, let's talk about this quote that this mayor made that just made me laugh so hard, y'all, because I really don't think he meant to make it. This is part of an overall article. Look at this. Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. They got money thrown in the air and everything. This is what you wanted? No social distancing, no masks, no 6 feet, everything open. Party, party, party. This is what you wanted? You got it. Anyway, let's talk about the quote that the mayor made. The mayor said, "Our city in this area has become a tender, and we can't have a policy of simply hoping it's not lit." I said, hey. I said, did somebody write that for him, or did he literally say that? Because it's correct. A tinder is something that you use to light something. So like you would use a tinder to light a fire, hence Tinder's little icon, right? Didn't Tinder have a fire logo for their icon? So him saying our area has become a tinder, we hope it's not lit. I'm like, boy, you're trying to get people to come down here now. They're like, what? Miami's Tinder is lit. There they go. So I just thought that was hysterically funny. I don't think he meant to say that. I don't think he really fully understood what he was saying. And see, this is why you need young people around you. In all areas of business, you always need the youth around you. You need everyone, really. You need young employees, middle-aged employees, and senior employees on their way to retirement. So you can benefit from the perspectives of all, because a young employee would have said, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, are you sure you want to release that statement like that? He would say, what's wrong with it? What did I say? Well, do you know what Tinder is? Yeah, it's something you set a fire with. Oh, honey, come here. Let me show you something. Let me show you my phone real quick. See that? That's a dating app. And lit, here, let's go to Urban Dictionary, okay? Urban Dictionary. And I'm going to type in lit, L-I-T. Boom. He's like, oh, dear God. I just invited them all to the city, didn't I? Yeah, you did, babe. You did. Or you were about to, if you had a young person there to stop you and say, sir, don't say that. Our area has become a Tinder. We hope it's not lit. It is. All right, let's move on. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So I thought this was interesting, especially in the wake of everything that's been going on lately. California lawmakers seek to force firearms creators to you know what, screw it. I think this stream is screwed anyway. California lawmakers seek to force gun makers to microstamp bullet casings. It says advocates seek enforcement of a 2007 measure that would link casings to the guns that fired them. Ooh, that'll make you think twice. Maybe, unless you meant it. Let's see here. Gun control advocates are making a new attempt to force the gun industry to comply with a unique California law that requires bullet casings to be microstamped, a measure that has been toothless since it was approved more than a decade ago. Excuse me. The 2007 law requires manufacturers to adopt microstamping technology on new types of handguns introduced in the state. The intent was to imprint a unique set of microscopic characters on all cartridge casings when weapons are fired, linking bullet casings to the guns that discharged them. Ooh, digital. Digital firearms, basically, is what it is. It's like putting a little stamp, like, pew, PTE, pew, PTE, pew, 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 PTE, PTE, pew, pew. Like a little fingerprint. Dang, that's messed up. Whew, that'll make you think twice. The bill by the Democratic Assemblyman Jesse Gabriel, co-founder of the legislature's Gun Violence Prevention Working Group, would add law enforcement starting in 2023. I wonder what that means. Like they put it on law enforcement's guns? Ooh, that'll make you think twice. That'll make you think twice. If they start putting them on cops' guns too. The main priority, I'm just thinking through all the implications of that. The main priority here is to really overcome the obstinance from the manufacturers. They've resisted at every step of the way. Yeah, because it's going to kill their business. The manufacturers have vigorously opposed the microstamp law, arguing the technology is unreliable. To get around complying with it, they have not introduced new gun models in California since the law was passed. Now that's funny. I'm not on their side, but I think that's kind of hilarious that they're like, okay, so this only applies to the new ones. All right, well then we won't make any new ones. It's kind of funny, pretty creative, gotta say. Where was I? Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we're not going to read the rest. I will link this for you later, but wouldn't that be something that they can literally trace every single bullet to the gun that it was fired from? That would really complicate things, wouldn't it? That'll make you think twice. And then everybody actually goes home happy. If you think about it, nobody's taking away your guns. They couldn't, even if they tried. No one's going to take away your guns. We're just going to put a little micro stamp in here. So if you use it, it's just going to be traced back to the firearm. No biggie, right? Because you should only be using it for personal protection, right? So what's the problem? What's the issue? If it's only being used for personal protection, that should be no problem, right? Everybody goes home happy. It's like an automatic control mechanism. It's actually kind of ingenious, but it looks like they don't think it will actually work. That would require a lot of redesign. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that with you guys. People are thinking, I mean, like, is this an invasion of privacy? Is that a private issue? Where did this bullet come from? Is that a privacy issue? I don't know that it is, especially if it made contact. Might want to know that. All right, let's move on. So remember, I just told you that all of them out in Miami passing around beer bottles, liquor bottles, sharing the same cup and all that could be problematic. Well, in our ever-changing, never-ending COVID saga, COVID can now be swallowed into our bodies, among other things. Researchers say they have found evidence that CV infects the mouth, including inside the cheeks, the gums, the salivary glands, When people swallow infected, when people swallow infected saliva, they could be spreading the virus to other parts of their bodies. Woohoo! The study, detailed in the journal Nature Medicine on Thursday, may explain why so many people infected lose their sense of taste and suggests the mouth is an important source of the spread of CV-19. It was previously known that saliva testing was a good way to detect infection, but researchers had not looked to see why. When infected saliva is, when infected saliva is swallowed, or tiny particles of it are inhaled, we think it can potentially transmit SARS-CoV-2 further into our throats, our lungs, and even our guts. What is this stuff? What is this thing, honey? This is like the goo from the great beyond. It's like some goo and it just leaks out of the sky. And once it's in your mouth, it just spreads to all parts of your body, turns your toes black, makes your teeth fall out. What else? I forgot what else. The mouth, nose, sinuses, throat, and lungs are all connected, and the virus can spread across all those regions in mucus that drains or is coughed up. Guys, y'all couldn't have written this any more gross, but I guess they have to be technically correct. They checked samples of oral tissue from people who passed from COVID-19 and found the virus in about half of the salivary glands they tested. So it lives in the mouth. It just dwells in the ears, eyes, nose, and mouth. The study also found evidence that people who test negative after a nasal swab sometimes continue to test positive on a saliva test, highlighting that even if the virus is cleared from the nasopharynx, the upper part of the throat behind the nose, it could persist in saliva. So it just sounds like it's just with you forever. Like once you have it, you have it. So for those of you in Miami, you might want to reconsider. I'm sure the beer bottles are probably the least of our concern in terms of things that you all are down there putting your mouths on, but you might want to think twice about that because apparently COVID lives like in the mouth and in the saliva. Okay. Thank you for the encouragement, Alexis. She said at PTE, you got this. You got this. I got this. I got this. I can do it. We're moving on. Yeah. See? That's why it's so important. That's why they wanted everyone to cover their mouth and their freaking nose, man. They thought the mouth and nose had something to do with it, and apparently it does. That was too much. Too much. Now, okay, so now this is getting interesting. This should tickle my theorists in the room. But Amazon delivery drivers have been forced to sign a biometric consent form or lose their job. Okay, so first let's clarify what that actually is, the biometric consent. It says the new cameras, which are being implemented nationwide, use artificial intelligence to access drivers' location, movement, and biometric data. Amazon delivery drivers nationwide have to sign a biometric consent form this week that grants the tech behemoth permission to use the AI-powered cameras to access their location, movement, and biometric data. If the company's delivery drivers, who number around 75,000 in the United States, refuse to sign these forms, they lose their jobs. The form requires drivers to agree to facial recognition and other biometric data collection within the trucks that they drive. Amazon may use certain technology that processes biometric information, including onboard safety camera technology, which collects your photograph for the purposes of confirming your identity and connecting you to your driver account. Using your photograph, this technology may create biometric information and collect, store, and use biometric information from such photographs. It adds that this technology tracks vehicle location and movement, including miles driven, speed, acceleration, braking, turns, and following distance. As a condition of delivery packages from Amazon, you consent to the use of this technology. I agree. I just looked at the chat. It says this surveillance is just too much. It's dehumanizing. Yes, it is. Let's see here. In February, Amazon announced plans to install the AI-powered 4-lens cameras made by the tech company Netradine in all of its Amazon-branded delivery vans. The company says the cameras are being used to improve safety and quality of the delivery experience. But as Thomson Reuters reported earlier this month, some drivers are quitting their jobs because of privacy concerns. Yeah, the Netradine cameras are able to sense when a driver yawns, appears distracted, or isn't wearing a seatbelt. It also monitors the driver's body and facial movements, guys. That's crazy. That's madness. And this is just, oh, wow, that's the consent form. So they did a screenshot. I'll link it all for you later. Jeez, man. It says Netradine cameras are used to help keep drivers in the communities where we deliver safe. We piloted the technology from April to October 2020 on over 2 million miles of delivery routes, and the results produced remarkable driver and community safety improvements. Accidents decreased 48%, stop sign violations decreased 20%, driving without a seatbelt decreased 60%, and distracted driving decreased 45%. It says, don't believe the self-interested critics who claim these cameras are intended for anything other than safety. Man, that's a lot, y'all. That's too much. And here's my major issue, because here's the thing. This technology kind of already exists. The insurance companies use it. You have to consent to it. But basically, they monitor, you install the app on your phone, and it can kind of tell when you're driving, because I guess it assumes you're not walking 30 miles per hour, 40, 50 miles per hour. So it knows when you're driving. And it's monitoring things like your speed, your hard stops, your soft stops. And it's basically gauging whether or not you're a good driver based on the movements that this app is sensing, right? So it already exists. But here's the whole thing about this whole biometric data thing. Like, it's freaky and scary for many reasons. One, it truly is an invasion of privacy, because just because somebody yawns doesn't mean they're too sleepy to drive. I know so many of you have yawned while driving before. And yes, sleepy driving has been shown by studies to be just as bad as drunk driving while sleepy, which is why so many accidents occur early in the morning. People are basically still asleep driving their car. So, this is all coming from a girl who's very passionate about driving. Still got a live stream that I owe y'all about that, my major driving rant. But here's my issue, right? If these cameras reduce accidents by 48%, which is almost half, reduce stop sign violations, they decrease by 20%. Driving without a seatbelt decreased by 60%, which is more than half. And distracted driving decreased by 45%. You got bad drivers. You are hiring bad drivers. Oh my God. Like what I'm trying to say is these cameras should not have improved it that much, is what I'm saying. Accidents should have only decreased by like 10%. Stop sign violations should have only decreased by like 10%. You see what I mean? Seatbeltless driving should have gone down by like 5%, because you should already have your seatbelt on. But I guess and see, the problem with this also is they're not telling us what circumstances. So if an Amazon driver is delivering in a neighborhood and the houses are like every other house, yeah, they're probably not putting their seatbelt on when they park the truck, get out, deliver the box, hop back in, drive 200 feet, hop out. Yeah, they're probably not putting their seatbelt on for that. Like, let's be realistic. You see what I mean? And I get that the laws apply at all times, but what I'm trying to say is The thing that I don't like about technology like this is it doesn't tell the whole story. It does not necessarily tell the whole story. You know what I mean? So your camera is tracking my eyes. So you see my eyes look to the left for longer than you're satisfied. Well, I might have been looking at a police officer giving me directions, telling me what to do next. You see what I mean? Or I might be slowing down because there's a disabled car on the side of the road. Like, you don't know what I'm looking at or why. And your camera can't ask me that. And I can't tell your camera that. So a lot of assumptions are going to be made based off the data. And that's the issue with AI. In my opinion, we don't need to fear AI just yet because they haven't even mastered regular intelligence. So until you can master regular intelligence, I really don't fear your AI because AI is meant to be a mimic of intelligence. Y'all don't even have a grip on that. That's still largely a mystery to you. So, and you won't even do like the most basic things that are intelligent to do in terms of technology. So I'm not worried about your AI. You don't have a grip on intelligence yet. But anyway, the same principle holds true for those of you who have office jobs and you have things like Slack or Teams, which constantly say what state you're in. So if you're green, what that is supposed to mean is that you're sitting at your computer, touching it, you're moving your mouse, you're typing on your keyboard. When you go yellow, and a lot of companies have disabled your ability to change the settings, yellow indicates you are away. You are no longer at your computer. You've stepped away. Red indicates that you're busy, that you have a meeting, something like that, right? The issue with all of that is that none of those things are necessarily true. Just because you're green doesn't mean you didn't get up and go to the restroom or get up and go grab a coffee. If it's set for 5 minutes, within those 5 minutes, you can get up, leave, and come back. Just because it's yellow doesn't mean you're not sitting right there. Like, there's nothing more irritating when you're reading a screen and your computer goes yellow because you're not doing anything because you're reading. So then you have to shake your mouse vigorously to wake it back up so people don't start telling themselves stories about where you are and what you're doing. Do you see what I mean? Just because it's red doesn't mean you're busy. So these little things that have been put in place to quote unquote help us are still lacking the undercurrent of actual human analysis and intelligence. They'll never get it, I don't think, largely due to their narcissism. Their narcissism won't let them get it. It's too much like right. Intelligence is too much like right. So they'll never do anything that's too close to the right thing, which is why you shouldn't fear AI too much. It is scary. Even Elon Musk is scared of it, but I wouldn't be too afraid, honey. They don't even know what to do with the regular stuff. Now, as a result of all this nonsense and madness and every other thing that's going on in Amazon's headquarters, down in Alabama, they are actually making a historic push for the first union in Amazon. Okay. So this is actually pretty long, so I'm not going to read it all. I just wanted you to know that, like, you know, people are pushing back and fighting back against the big guy, and I couldn't be more proud. It says workers at an Alabama warehouse are voting whether to form the first Amazon union in the US, the very first one. The vote will finish on March 29th. Amazon has been fighting hard to persuade workers to vote no. Insiders spoke with 2 warehouse workers about their fight against Amazon's anti-union tactics. And then you can kind of see more, okay? And then it just says 6,000 warehouse workers in Alabama could soon decide the future of a $1.5 trillion tech giant and its 560,000 employees worldwide, okay? So this is brilliant and beautiful, you guys. If they're successful, it's going to change everything for the workers and employees of Amazon. And as rich as you are, boy, needle eye, camel through a needle eye. Remember that. Camel meet needle eye. Like, you see how you have to fight them to do the right thing? You see how you have to wrestle for the right thing? and you made more money last year in the middle of a global health pandemic while people are losing jobs, homes, and lives, you're getting richer and richer, and you want to fight these people on a union. If you had done the right thing to begin with, they wouldn't have had to do this. Your employees don't unionize against you when you do the right thing, generally. Let's move on, you guys. Let's move on. I'm not going to do the story. This one was just, if you guys have ever purchased real water, it's called real water. It's alkaline water. It's been linked to 5 cases of hepatitis, with one man suffering liver failure and needing a transplant. So I was going to read this, but I'm not going to anymore. But if you have purchased this product called real water, it says the FDA has warned people not to drink alkaline water brand Real Water after a man suffered liver failure and had to undergo a transplant, apparently from drinking the product. I guess I am doing it right now. All I really wanted to say about this is that when the whole alkaline water craze first came out, I was really into it. And it's like my body stopped me from drinking it. It's weird. Like my body just stopped wanting it. You know what I mean? And I was like, why don't you want, like, I went from drinking like the whole bottle to like maybe a quarter of it. My body would just stop me. And I'm like, that's weird. Well, come to find out, the reason alkaline water is alkaline is because, and correct me if I'm wrong, alkalinity comes from stones, rocks, okay? Sediments. That's where alkalinity comes from, rocks. So basically, we've been drinking rocks. So it makes complete sense that these people's livers have failed on them. We've been drinking rocks. And I feel like my body stopping me was my body being like, girl, are you trying to kill us? Now, I'm no scientist, so please, do your own health and wellness research and listen to your own body. I'm just saying, I used to drink alkaline water, loved it, couldn't get enough of it. And then one day I just stopped, like I just totally lost the taste for it. And I really strongly believe it's because my body just stopped me, because essentially you're drinking stones. Okay? So the comment says real water. Did they get it from a puddle? Apparently they got it from some stones, allegedly. All alleged. All right. Bill Gates, people have been talking about you a lot these past couple of years, and I never really listened. But when I read this, I was like, oh, maybe this is what people are trying to say about you, Bill. It said, could dimming the sun help to cool the earth? Bill Gates wants to spray millions of tons of chalk into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight and slow global warming. But critics fear it could be disastrous. Bill, I'm starting to see what they're saying about you now. I left it alone, but I think I might be starting to see what they're saying. It says the first test of a project back to spray millions of tons of chalk into the stratosphere in an attempt to dim the sun and cool the earth could happen in June. Harvard University experts will test the system by sending a large balloon 12 miles above the Swedish town of Kiruna and have it drop 12 kilograms of chalk dust into the stratosphere, as if we don't already have enough problems. The aim of the estimated $3 million mission, backed by billionaire Bill Gates, is to have the chalk deflect a portion of the sun's radiation, stop it from hitting the surface, and cool the planet. Boy. The idea has been heavily criticized since its inception, with project director Frank Koich even calling the need for this scale of geoengineering terrifying. Yeah. And experts have warned that the unusual technique could be disastrous for weather systems in ways nobody can predict. Yeah. Backed by a range of private donors, including Gates, the test mission is launching from Sweden, as they could offer a launch by the end of this summer. This is what it would kind of look like. A plume of dust a few miles wide forms from the chalk particles. You people are out of your minds. You see why they don't want us, you see why it's not good to have so much money? Because when you have a whole lot of money and all your worldly needs and goods are paid for, like you don't have any like worldly wants like food, water, shelter, clothes, all that. This is the type of stuff you start doing with your money. Littering the actual atmosphere with chalk dust. Okay. The test balloon will lift 600 kilograms of scientific equipment 12 miles above the surface of the Arctic town. And if all goes well, about 2 kilograms of dust, just straight up dust, will be released for you to breathe in later, Sweden, and eventually all of us, because where is this dust going to go? This will then create a dust plume several kilometers in length, not large enough to have any effect on the intensity of the sun's rays hitting Earth. Oh, this is just the test. Jesus. Y'all are really trying to be God. You always have been. That's always been your biggest problem. And if the climate people are right, y'all caused this problem. So now you're trying to solve the problem you caused by making it worse by releasing dust into the atmosphere instead of just changing your ways to slow global warming and destroying our atmosphere. Let's see here. It says during the first test, the team would gather information on how particles of dust react with the air. So they don't know. They don't know. This could then be, This could then be fed into computer models to determine what would happen if it were ever carried out at scale. They playing with y'all's literal lives, trying to block out the sun. But people have been saying that they were gonna try to do this. They've been saying it for years. It would take tons of dust and many hundreds of kilometers to make a difference. The theory being that the dust would create a massive sunshade. Well, yeah, but then where does it go, honey? Does it just hang out? Does it start to draw things to it and become like a magnet? Does it fall back to Earth for us all to breathe in? Is that what COVID is? One of your first tests of this little silly ass dust plume? Messing up everybody's ears, nose, lungs, and throat? I'm just reading to see if they'll ever tell us what exactly is supposed to happen to it after. Does it evaporate? Y'all can't be serious. Look at their little diagram. So I guess this is their little dust particle. It's supposed to block the sun and keep it, the literal sun that gives us life and grows our food, gives us vitamin D, sets our seasons and things like that. The thing that controls the seasons and all that, they want to block it out with the dust cloud. I'm not reading all of this. I will link it for you, but it's real. It's happening now. And Bill now is starting to see why they say what they say about you, boy. You might need to call me too. But hopefully the Most High God will destroy this little balloon of yours, because wow, wow. Okay. Let's move on to our last story and we will get out of here, guys. Strange things, signs and wonders all over the place. Iceland is experiencing a volcano for the first time in 6,000 years. Let's see if we can get a video.
A spectacular sight in Iceland today, with volcano southwest of the capital, Reykjavik, had been dormant for 6,000 years. That was until now, when fountains of lava began oozing out. Get this, Officials say there's no need to evacuate anyone, as the closest town is 6 miles away.
Oh, that's cute. Their closest little town is 6 miles away. That's cute. Yeah, so I have no idea. Fagradal's, the Fagradal's mountain volcano in southwest Iceland has been dormant for 6,000 years. But on Friday night, following weeks of earthquakes in the area, the volcano came to life. Y'all are invasive with these videos and you violate our consent. The eruption is the first that the peninsula where the volcano is located has experienced in 781 years. I thought y'all just said it was 6,000. Video of the eruption shows the bright lava oozing out of the earth, lighting up an otherwise stark, dark night. The glow from the lava could be seen up to 20 miles away from Iceland's capital, according to the Associated Press, and photos of the glow. Look how spooky that is, y'all. Look at the house silhouette. Like, look how creepy. It's so beautiful, though. Like, it's beautiful, but spooky. It looks like something out of The Wizard of Oz. Not the Wizard. Was it The Wizard of Oz? Was this the start of the movie when the tornado came? Anyway, so yeah, I bring you this story because unusual things are happening. Strange things are happening. There have been like meteors over major cities like every single day for like the past week or two. Have you guys seen and heard that? I was going to bring that here, but I might save that for my other channel. But like, and the most unusual thing about them, A, is that people are seeing them. B, they're getting them on film and taking pictures. What did I do? A, B, where are we on C? But C, the fact that they are making sonic booms as they arrive and rattling things. And then they're writing it off. What did they write off this last one as? They said, oh, it was just leftover debris from one of the recent space launches or something like that. And it's like, come on, y'all. Like, some of us are out here keeping track. You got all these asteroids showing up, booming, rattling things. Earthquakes are going off. Volcanoes are erupting and ships are getting turned sideways, poised and dazed in the Suez Canal. What's going on? Boats are floating in the sky. Anyway, stay alert, stay woke. Okay. You guys, it was so fun. It was good to have you again. Yeah, birth pains. Exactly, Rebound. It was so good to have you again. It was good to chit chat with you. I'm going to try to bring you some content this weekend, but every time I make a public promise like that, I'm unable to fulfill it, but I am going to try. I do always try. I want you to know that. But I hope you all have a great weekend. Hopefully I didn't scare you too much. You know, if it happens to all of us at the same time. So let that be kind of soothing to you. But with that, have a great weekend. Stay safe. If you're headed to Miami, don't share drinks and don't turn up and don't get too lit. PTE told you so. And with that, have a great weekend and we will talk again very soon. Okay, you guys? Bye.